Hello everybody. Today we are looking again at the Wildflower Blanket for my granddaughter. And I have heard this also called the Primrose Blanket or a Primrose Throw. It might more appropriately be a throw because it is such open work. There's a lot of holes in it unless you decided to put a back on it underneath it. Now, I did one other video on this blanket and I'll put a link up here so you can go back and watch it if you want. In that video, I was really feeling my way. I didn't know what I was doing. I knew I wanted to have this blanket. Being a cheapskate, I didn't want to pay for the pattern. You can buy the pattern. I know Arn and Carlos do this pattern together, and they have it for sale in their shop and probably lots of other places. And it's you can find it on the internet on YouTube. This is what I hilariously call my cup of coffee in the morning. It's probably more like 2 cups of coffee. Anyway, last time I was really trying to figure out how to make this work. It seemed like a lot of people were making little clumps of flowers. They'd make 5 or 7 and then they'd put them together. I didn't really understand why they were doing that, but I really wondered if I could get away from doing that. That seemed complicated to try to join 2 patches of flowers together by putting one in the middle. And I wondered why I couldn't just add flowers around the edge. Now, after a while, and I have made that work. It's not hard to do. I don't really know why people do it in little patches and then put them together. Arn and Carlos do it that way. My husband said it may be because there's 2 people working on it, and so you can't work on it in one spot. You want to have one person doing one patch and one person doing another patch, and then you have to put it together later. But I'm just one person, so I'm going to do one big chunk. After a while, I realized I need to start making it square or rectangular, and so I chose this corner up here as my top corner, and I put a little one of those little sewing clips that I don't always like these for sewing. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I still prefer pins. These are good on the edge, but they're not even good in the middle. Oh, Leo is messing with the camera. Leo, no. No. I don't know what he's doing over there. Okay, so I'll put this up here so that I can remember exactly where the corner is. Now this top edge is straight. It has a straight line of flowers going up, and each finished flower has 12 points on it. Okay, and so if you look, let me see, let's pick a good one. Let's pick this one. It's got 2 points that join it to the flowers on either side of it, which makes that nice horizontal row. And then it's got 2 points that attach it, let me come up here, to the 2 flowers on top. So there's 2 points here and 2 points here. And that's also true on the bottom. So it's surrounded by 6 flowers. And when I bring you in closer, I'm going to show you some mistakes that I made, but that can be overcome with it unless you want to pull everything out. You don't have to pull everything out in order to correct them. Now, what I'm trying to do, I've got a nice straight row here. I may make it wider than that. I'm not sure. This is for my granddaughter. She's only 2. She doesn't need a huge blanket. This would be a throw on her bed maybe, or maybe later on a piece of furniture in her room. But on the side over here, it's going to be more of a zigzag, okay, going up and down. So the corner here, this is my corner, okay, this is the one below it, and then this, 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 okay. So looks like I've already got some that are out further, and I'm going to need to put one here, okay. So, and I am going to end up having to have partial pieces of flowers around the edge because, as you see, they tend to, if they don't have any tension on them, the edges tend to curl up. Okay, so I need to have a straight edge, and in order to have a totally straight edge, I'm going to have like a half flower in here. And after I put another one here, I'm going to have another half flower here and probably a quarter flower in the corner. Okay, so this is what it's looking like. Let me bring you in a little closer and we'll look at some details, good and bad. So here's more of a close-up of what this is looking like. Now I'm getting a real mishmash of colors, light and dark. I'm trying to get lots of contrast. That's why I'm calling it a wildflower blanket, because I want the idea that there's just all kinds of flowers here. I'm trying to tuck in all of the ends. Here's one where they're sticking out, but except for the final tie off on the outside circle. So this will keep the number of yarn ends I have to weave in at the end on the back, keep it down a bit. I want to talk about, well, there's some cat hairs on here. I want to talk about this one right here. Okay. This poor little flower, let's count how many, well, it's hard to tell now, but I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I think I had one in here. I somehow only did 10 points out here. I think it's because, let me see how many of these I had. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I'm missing 4 triple crochets here. It's probably because I got the wrong number on the inside. I probably only did 10 on the inside. Or actually, I didn't do a pair here. So there's one mistake. And I didn't do a pair here. Yeah, I started with the right inside, but I just missed some pairs and that messed up my outside. So when I got to attaching this one over here, I was like, oh no, I had already attached it here, 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 and here, I think. Anyway, I had already attached it, and in order to unattach it, it would have been really complicated. So it wouldn't have been just a matter of taking this one out. I would have had to take other ones out, actually uncrochet them. I thought, what can I do? So I just kind of stretched it. It doesn't look very pretty right here. The join is kind of ugly. But in the, the carnival of color here, it doesn't really show much. And I'm just going to leave that. There was another one that I messed up a little bit. I don't remember which one it is. I'm not going to go hunting for it now. But this is a pretty severe error. And I just wanted you to see that you probably wouldn't have noticed that if I hadn't pointed it out to you. And so it's not really a big deal. If you make a mistake like that, you can overcome it and keep on going. And I'm sure my granddaughter will never notice. Or if she does, she'll think, oh, look, Nana's made a mistake. Okay, so let's look at this edge over here. It can be tricky to find out. Yarn is so flexible. You have to kind of, there's my straight edge along the top. Okay. And here is my side coming down. So really, these two are in line with each other. And so I've got an extra bump out here. So I'm going to need to put another one here. Okay, and that's, I want to get this edge tidied up before I start filling in my big open spot, which is down here. I don't really, this whole corner is not really done yet. And even then, it's a pretty small square, and so I've got a long way to go. And I've got a new grandbaby coming, so I need to get this one finished so I can make a new baby blankie. I try to make a new baby blankie when they're first born. Something really small that they can just snuggle up to, and something fairly simple in a very soft baby yarn. And then by the time they're about 2, I try to make them something bigger, more significant. I did a mitered square blanket for a grandson. I did woven blankets for all the grandchildren at one point. Those were pretty fast. I still have another blanket to do for another grandson, so, it keeps on going. But that's thoughts for down the road. In my brain, I'm thinking, quilts. I could do quilts. Oh, goodness, no. I'm not a quilter. Okay, so I want to show you the little circles the little mini flowers I was working on our trip. This is one of the real advantages of this pattern, is that if you don't want to haul out the whole blanket and be adding things, you can always be making individual flowers one at a time. And this is what I did when I was in the car, okay? I took along my bag and I made, these are the ones I made in the car. And I would just pull out any old yarn. Like if I did this one, if I did this one and I ended with the peach color, then on the next one I would start with the peach color and then, you know, do a different color on the outside. So I've got, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so I've got a nice stack of them here. And this saves time later. Then when you want to really work on your quilt, when you have it out, you've got your flowers already and you don't have to do them one by one. So I'm going to be working on these today and adding some along the edge and filling in that part. And again, when you're doing these, if you work on enclosing your tie-ins, your little yarn ends as you go to the next round, like I'll do that. I've got one string here. I'll tie this to the next color, and then I'll only have these two to tie in later. Okay, so that's a really, really big benefit of this particular pattern is you have little teeny projects you can work on, and you have a big project to work on both, and they complement each other. That makes it easy to do. Now I want to show you my bag. Now this is probably not the best way to do this. This is the bag I'm using for this, and this is all Simply Soft yarn. Now it looks like a chaos in there. However, I do try to have all of the skeins kind of standing on their ends a bit. They're starting to collapse because they're getting thinner. And then I hang their strings on the outside, so the ends are easy to find, generally. Some of them are longer than others. There's the dark blue. I have a dark green. I try to have a balance. At first I wanted to do all pastels, but I didn't really have enough. And I wanted more contrast. So I've got kind of a barn red, a dark blue, a beautiful dark green. Here's a nice teal. And then on the lighter colors, I have two different pinks. This is a paler pink, and this one has, which one is that? Oh, that's that one. Okay. This is a paler pink, and this one's a little bit brighter. Then I have the peach. And then I also have some purple, a light purple. Well, that's a long string. And then my favorite really is my yellow. Now this one is getting a little small, but I have a whole nother skein of this, or partial skein, so I've got plenty. I tried to make sure I had plenty of this. I did have some variegated I used up. So I kind of try to leave it like this if I'm sitting in here working or on the couch. And then when I want to go on to my next color, I don't have the frustration of hunting for those ends buried down in somewhere or digging out the next color. All the colors are available. All the ends are easy to get to. So it doesn't always look that tidy, but yeah, I try. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I just want to reinforce the fact that you can start and expand from, you don't have to work in portions, in chunks of flowers. I had a hard time figuring that out at first, but you have to make sure that you figure out exactly how to add these on so that you leave a place for the next one to go in. But after you get used to doing that, it's not hard at all. So I would encourage you to give this a try. I think I do more of that on the first video. And maybe I'll show you a little bit about putting new flowers on today. Okay, isn't it turning out pretty? I'm very, very excited about this blanket and hopeful that I'll get it done in the next couple of months. I hope so. I get after it. failed to mention that I do keep one of these little cloth bags, boxes, whatever you want to call them, that I've made before. If I remember, I'll link to that video as well. And all it has in it is just the things I need for this project. And so I really only need a pair of snips. I definitely need to keep this crochet hook. I also, because crocheting is hard on my thumbs and my hands, I keep these little gloves in here. This one is kind of tighter. This one is more comfortable. Depends on what I'm in the mood for. But they just go on like this and give some support to this part of your thumb all the way down into the wrist. And it helps you to not be in as much pain if you are like me with arthritis or whatever that is. So, and then like I might have little pieces of yarn in here that I'm hoping to still use on one of the middle of the flowers. So this is really handy, and I keep it in that bag as well. Okay, well, let's get started. I'm going to tidy up this corner where the clip is. I'm going to put another piece right here underneath that to match the ones that are below it, so that they come out the same distance, and try to keep my blanket from falling on the floor. Now, the next thing I want to do is pick a color that I haven't used as much in there. I don't have as much of the barn red around there, so maybe I'll do that. I've already, in the ones around it, I have an exterior yellow, dark blue, and dark green. So I'll probably, I think I'll use the peach or the purple. Don't have too much purple there. Maybe the purple. We'll do that. Okay. So, time to crochet. Now, the first thing I do is tie the new yarn onto the existing yarn on that particular flower. I haven't done one of these in a little bit. And I will attach it first to the yellow, the top corner. Okay, so I'm going to reach under. When I say reach under, I'm going to go into one of these openings right here. Put my hook in there and grab the purple yarn that I've just tied on and pull it through. So now I've got one single crochet in that opening, and now I'll do another one. And I am carrying these ends along the border and trying to get them in there. And now I've got 3 chains. I think I've done this with you before. 3 chains, and then 2 more single crochets. And that little opening right there is done. It looks like that. With a little peak right there. Now I'm going to leave this one unattached. Obviously, I haven't attached it to anything, and I'll do another one just like that. Now, you don't do any type of stitch above these 2 triple crochets here. You jump straight over and dig into there and pull through for your first single crochet on the next section. Now, I'm showing you the back, obviously. Apologize for that. I'll turn it around in a second. Second single crochet, 3 chains, and 2 more single crochets. Now at this point, my loose ends are probably tucked in adequately, and they're getting shorter, so I can snip them off. So I'll pull that out. See them sitting there? And I like these for this purpose. These little snips are good for this kind of thing. It's exactly what they were intended for. Okay, so now I've got 2 points on the outside. Now on the next one, I'm going to start attaching it to the yellow. But of course, I only attach it at the peak of the little point. So I'm going to go ahead and do my single crochet and another single crochet and 1 chain. And then making sure that I have it facing, the right side facing outward toward me, I'm going to choose the two little points here, okay? And because I want it to be, let me pull you around. Okay, oh, where'd it go? There it is. Okay. I just want you to see where I'm going to place this. I'm going to place this under this one, beside this one, and above this one, okay? So it's going to attach to these two points on the blue flower, and these two on the yellow, and these two, and it kind of pulls it together when you put it in there, okay? So I've done one chain, and now on the next chain, I'm going to work on this tip. I'm going to work on this tip because I'm going to be moving in this direction, in a counterclockwise direction, okay? I'm kind of going counterclockwise here as well. So I'm going to put my hook through the little opening in that point of the yellow, and I'm going to grab my purple yarn and pull it through there, and now they're attached. And then I do the third chain, and they are really attached. And then I come back down and finish 2 more single crochets in that opening on my working flower, okay? Sorry about the loop. You see how that goes? And then the next one will attach to this one. So let's do that. Again, I go straight into the next big opening, skipping over top of those 2 triple crochets below. I do 2 single crochets, 1 chain, and then I look for the opening here. See, I've already attached this one, and now I'm doing this one. Pull it all the way through. Try not to lose your loop. And then do your third chain. Okay. My purple yarn is getting tight. And then go back into your opening below and do 2 more single crochets. Okay. Now, you see what I've done? Okay. Now the next thing I need to do, the next 2 openings are here and here. See my 2 fingers sticking out? And those 2 openings are going to attach to these 2 points on the blue. So let me go ahead and do that, and then I'll bring you back. Okay, so here's my 2 attachments to the yellow flower. Here are my 2 attachments to the blue, and now I've got this opening and this opening that will attach to the green here. Now, it's easy to get confused with this blanket and think, okay, this is the outside edge going straight this way, but it's not true. And you kind of have to make sure you get your perspective correct. I'm keeping my straight edge across the top here, and so this is kind of going to be boom, 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 back and forth here. So I'm going to attach this here, and then I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rest of the purple outside of this flower all around, all the points around here. And then when I want to come back and add a quarter flower here or a half flower here, I'll have an outside to attach it to, okay? It's really a matter of getting all of your centers done and having them ready, and then when you're ready to add them in, you just do what I just did, and you find the spot where you want to attach it to. It's very, very simple. It kind of looks complicated and fiddly, but once you get used to doing it, once you understand the structure of it, it's not hard to do. Okay, so this new flower is in line with these. So I think of these 2 points here as kind of, you know, the straight line. And then this one's kind of off to the side. The quarter flower up here will be a little bit tilted. and this one will be as well. Okay, and so the side of this, the 2 points over here, will be the actual edge of the blanket. Okay. All right, well, we'll keep on cracking on. There's our top flower. Boom. That's the one we just put in. Boom. Now you see how straight it is. And these 3 are all lined up. So this is where I'll have a half flower, if I can figure out how to do it. And here I'll have a half flower. And here I'll have a little quarter flower, just a little one, so I can have a corner. And then the half flowers will tidy up this edge. But now I have to continue to the bottom. I'm not there yet, but I'm trying to get this part of the blanket kind of stabilized so I know exactly where I am in relation to that corner. I put on 12 of those 13 flowers. I have one left over. And actually, looking at that last dark blue one I just put on, I've got on my 4 corners. It's nice and square. Isn't that pretty on the table? So this side over here has the back and forth like the other side did. It goes all the way down, and I have corners ready for that quarter of a flower. So now I have to figure out how I'm going to do that. I don't think that'll be too hard to do. And finish off my edge partial flowers. And then when I've done that, I'm going to put a border around it. I'm going to put a picot crochet border, I think, around it. And and then tuck in all these ends. I should have one end for each flower. I should have been able to tie in all the other ends in there. So I'm finding all these little pieces though. Anyway, so now for partial flowers, and then we're going to be done. Very exciting. I do think that this is big enough for a 2-year-old. It's not supposed to cover her whole bed. It's just supposed to be a baby blanket, basically. And I think that that's about the same size or close to the mitered square blanket that I made. Might be worth measuring this, or at least counting the flowers. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 8 flowers across the top. And if you count all the flowers down the side, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then the 9th one on the bottom. Okay. I think this is good for a start. I don't want to overwhelm myself with like a twin size or a double bed size blanket on this because it's a lot of work. So time to find out about those corners and edges. Thanks for joining me on this. I love to look at it on the camera. Isn't it pretty on the desk? I can imagine it on the bed. So I hope you get this a try, even if all you did was just do, you know, a 3x3 or 4x4, just to give it a try and find out how it works. Because once you got it down, it's quite easy. Thanks, guys. Bye. Hooray! I might have figured out how to do a corner. Look at that. So we will talk about that in the next Wildflower Blanket video. These are people with bow to stern sailing school, practicing out in the very cold water